partnerships where we've got what it takes.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala.
Minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Friday morning. So I was trying to think of a way to introduce our next guest, and you might think it odd if you already know who our next guest is, and he'll probably think it's odd as I start to introduce him. But I want to tell you that having grown up in New York and not living there now, it's interesting to hear a lot of people saying, gosh, I would love to live in New York, or I guess I wish I had lived in New York. I wish, you must have been a great, and it is, it's a great place, and I'm not bad-mouthing New York, but there's something about living in New York, and it's probably true for LA too, because I spent some time out there, but I really know New York intimately. And I know what it's like to live there. And one of the things about living in New York, or at least coming from New York, and having never left, let's say, is that you have this false thought that New York is the center of the world. You have this false thought because everything on TV is about New York. Everything in the movies, everything takes place in New York, right? So you get this feeling that everybody else is out there, but you're in the center of the world. Mm-hmm. And what that has to do with the subject we're going to talk about is the same thing happens in our families. When you grow up in a family that is what you would call traditional nuclear family, mom, dad, and a couple of children, or 3 or 4 children.
Dog and a cat.
Dog and a cat, right? And you think this is the way the world is. And it's not the way the world is. You have to go outside of your world to see what the world really is. And if somewhere along the line you grew up in New York or in America or in any place, and somebody somehow told you, for example, when you grew up in New York, you're told, the people in the South are kind of backwards, so be careful when you move down there.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't true. That wasn't true. And in fact, there was some things I think that we did in New York that would be considered backwards, Mm-hmm. So the same thing is true when you have your family. You think, oh my gosh, across the street they have a black father and a white mother, and the children are from 2 different families, well, 3 different sets. There's the ones she brought from her first marriage, the ones he brought from his first marriage, and then the ones they had together. And that's crazy. And they have an iguana instead of a dog, so or something like that.
Well, she's been married 4 times. That's weird.
So anyway, so my thought is that we learn a lot by embracing the differences among us. And there is a book in my hands written by our guest, Joshua Gamson. His book is called Modern Family, Stories of Extraordinary Journeys to Kinship. And isn't that really what it's all about? And if we could have kinship across the planet with anybody, regardless. I mean, you see these refugees that are drowning. It was horrible story. Horrible. It's because somebody else thinks that these people should be out of their land because they don't think the way they think.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the way America is. America is a country that I am proud to say is the leader in trying to express accepting. Joshua is a professor of sociology at the University of San Francisco. Good morning, Joshua. How are you?
I'm great. That was a great introduction.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And I used to live in New York, so I know what you're talking about from that perspective, too.
Yeah, you do have this sense, and it does apply to the families, too, if you grew up in a nuclear family. And I will have you tell your story because you'll be the best one to tell it. But can I ask you this first?
Sure.
Did you grow up in a nuclear family?
I did. I grew up in a heterosexual nuclear family. My parents are still married 50-something years later. I grew up in the Midwest, so, I grew up in sort of a wholesome, traditional environment. I mean, my parents are academics, so it was a little bit, a little different. But, yes, and everyone around me was pretty much in that kind of family, too. I didn't see very many differences.
And where are you right now? Where are you right now?
Right now I'm in Oakland.
Oh, okay.
And I just sent off my 2 kids to school with a neighbor.
because you had to do this? You had to do the interview?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But, so I live a life not that different from the one I grew up in.
Except for the fact that you are gay, and
exactly.
And you are your significant other is another man.
That's right, my husband. Yep.
Okay. Now, Robin grew up in the Midwest. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Michigan.
Oh, in Michigan. She's
We're
from
close.
Wisconsin.
Go
yeah.
Packers.
There you go. Wolverines.
There you go.
So tell me about the book. Is the book your story? Is it stories of other families? Who's in the book?
It's a mixture of stories. So it's sort of bookended by the story of having our 2 kids, which I can tell you some of that. They're both through surrogates, different egg donors, and actually, come to think of it, different sperm donors, because Richard and I both were sperm donors for the babies.
Oh, okay.
That's a weird way to put it, because it's we were both fathers.
Yeah, you're
right.
These kids. Right.
Yeah.
And then it's the stories of other people I know, because I wanted to get the intimate inside kind of storytelling with friends. And when I looked around me, I knew all these people who were in non-traditional families. So a friend who adopted from Ethiopia as a single woman, she lives in New York. A friend who adopted from Nepal, and then an older child from India, and is in a relationship with a woman and is raising the kids with 2 dads, with a gay male couple, a couple that used to be our neighbors, who they did this complicated thing of 2 women where they took the egg of one woman and a sperm donor created a baby through in vitro fertilization and planted the embryo into the other woman.
Oh,
Did you
wow.
follow that?
Yeah, I sort of kind of. It sounds like
one woman carried, one woman was the egg donor, so she's genetically related, and then the other woman carried the baby, so she's, biologically related.
David Crosby has done a lot of this, hasn't he?
Yes.
He's done a lot of donation. He's got a lot of.
Seems like I've heard David Crosby.
Sperm babies out there.
Yeah.
And
if you think about it, we're all sperm babies.
We are. That's the thing. The sperm is.
We're all
sperm.
related.
Eggs are eggs are eggs. So it's a bunch of these different stories of friends of mine, people I've met that are in unconventional families and went to sort of extraordinary lengths to make the family with very, very deliberate, extensive planning, often requiring a lot of resources, a lot of ingenuity.
Is it easier for you living in Oakland than if you were still in Michigan?
I think so. I don't know. I haven't lived in Michigan for a long time, and things have changed in this country, so it's a little bit hard for me to gauge that. Here I feel very comfortable, and I think we made an intentional choice to be in a place where unconventional families aren't so unconventional. We're still probably the only 2-dad family in our kids' public school, as far as I know. So that's still different. We're still different, but I don't feel like that doesn't register as very, very important around here, and sometimes when we travel, we get a different response.
But I can see a connection with my question to the book. Is the book because there still are some changes you would like to see? Did you write the book so that we would have a greater, better, more maybe compassionate understanding of what somebody in your shoes goes through?
For sure. I want people, I think, here's how I see it. I think people, and I could be wrong about this because it's not like I've traveled the country asking people, but it seems to me that people are aware that the family structures have expanded and there's all kinds of different families, and you've got the TV show Modern Family displaying that, and a Tylenol campaign, I don't know if you've seen it, How We Family, that is displaying that. There's a lot of discussion now of how the family has changed, but I think people are very curious about how we go about doing that, what it's like to make the family, and I think as people understand that, it's potentially really opening. It's, there's the love and intention that goes into making these families, and the labor and the number of people and all of that is really interesting to people, I think, and they're curious, and it has the potential to change people's, not necessarily change, open people's minds about what's going on here and what these families are about and what it's like to pursue parenthood in this way.
There was a sports guy, and I wish I had looked this up before we started this conversation, but he was basically coming out supporting one of his team guys who is a gay guy, I guess, and he was saying, why would I be against somebody who's loving his children? I mean, isn't that what it's all about? What difference does it make if as long as he's loving his children? There are so many people who are not loving their children. Why would I be against him loving his children? What difference does it make who he chooses to be with?
Right. I mean, of course, I completely agree with that, and I think there's a point there about heterosexuality and traditional family is no guarantee of great parenting or of a lot of love in the family. There are plenty of families where that's not the case, right? And nor is homosexuality or any other status
but I
guarantee. So the love and the intention and the for these families that I describe in Modern Families, you really had to want this family badly because you had to work hard. Not that other people don't also work and want their families.
Can I just interject something? The word sexuality doesn't even come up in a family. My son, I mean, I never said, I'm heterosexual with your mother. It never came up. It never came up. What did come up though was how you doing in school. Let's learn how to ride this bicycle, and all those things that it didn't seem to matter what was between our legs. It didn't play a role at all. It only did in the fact that that's how he was born, or that's how he came into. So the biological beginnings is the only thing where that applied, and I guess that's my feeling on it. If that makes sense.
I can respond to that a little bit. It's a little bit different if you are not normative. You're not the family that everybody's used to. So it does come up more. It comes up on the playground. It comes up in questions from kids and so on. But if you leave kids to their own natural, curiosity and way of being in the world, they don't see it as strange unless it's the adults that make that matter. And for my kids, it certainly doesn't. It's not a thing for them, at least at this stage. And I don't really expect it to be something they can't handle. It's just this is their family. We love them. They have a daddy and an Abba. I'm the Abba, which is Hebrew for dad. And, that's their life. It's beautiful. They're lucky.
How old are they?
And that's how we go through the world. They're 5 and 9.
And so they're biologically, each of yours, you each have a biological child?
Yeah.
Did I understand that right? Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Can I ask you to hang on? We have to take a little commercial break, and we'll be right back. The book is called Modern Families, Stories of Extraordinary Journeys to Kinship. It's written by our guest, Joshua Gamson, out in Oakland. We'll take a look, and thank you for getting up early to do this and for sacrificing your time with your children, because I remember how important that was for me. We'll take a little break. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be partly sunny today with a couple of showers and thunderstorms in the area, mainly this afternoon and evening. High today 87 to 91. Partly cloudy, warm and muggy later tonight, though 72 to 76. But tomorrow, intervals of clouds and sun with a thunderstorm around in the afternoon, high 87 to 91. On Sunday, sunshine and some clouds with a couple of thunderstorms in the afternoon, high 87 to 91. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Big savings on carpet and vinyl right now at DIY. It's the big pre-Labor Day carpet and vinyl sale happening now through Saturday. Take an additional 15% off their already low outlet prices. On sale now, fiberglass pre-hung doors starting at only $119. Insulated fiberglass French doors, only $399. In stock and ready to be picked up. All wood kitchen cabinets in stock and ready to go. From all wood cabinets to granite vanity tops, DIY has you covered. Don't overpay at one of those big box stores. Put more money in your wallet and save big at DIY Home Center Outlet. Need tile, laminate flooring? DIY has it. Need those hard-to-find mobile home parts? Look no further than DIY Home Center Outlet. Tubs, showers, doors, and windows. It's all at DIY. Whether you're looking for savings on your mobile home or traditional home, DIY Home Center Outlet is the place to get great deals every day to save you money. Just a mile and a half east of I-75 on Highway 27 or DIYHomeCenterOutlet.com. And for new items and daily specials, check them out on Facebook. The DIY Home Center Outlet.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my
too.
seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, and a new spoiler, and a new
Yep,
trunk.
we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do. Don't get caught without your daily source of senior deals. Pick up your copy of the Senior Voice newspaper. It's your source for schedule and events tailored to seniors, with information you need, like a list of free events in the area. We even have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company to you that fits your needs. And all we ask in return is that you tell them where you heard about them. For more information, call Tom's Picks, 352-804-1223. And pick up your copy of the Senior's Voice at most any business up and down the 200 corridor.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
WWWWOCA WWWWOCA.
If you want to avoid getting ripped off and put more money in your pocket, then join me, Clark Howard, every weeknight at 6, right here on WOCA, The Source.
Visit the WOCA website at www.woca.com.
All right, 20 minutes after 11 o'clock. Nice looking Friday morning.
Oh,
Can you believe it's already September 4th?
I know.
Just hard to believe,
It's gorgeous.
right? On the phone is our guest for this half hour, Joshua Gamson. He's a professor of sociology, and his book is called Modern Family Stories of Extraordinary Journeys to Kinship. I want to focus on the word kinship. I love that word, kinship, Joshua. Thank you for being on the air with us again. So let's talk about that a little bit. Does do your children have cousins, for example? Yes. Okay.
You know, one of the reasons I think kinship is a nice term is it's more expansive than I think people are used to thinking. It includes, for me anyway, and the way the book is written, it includes biological family. It includes people who are chosen as family. It includes people who are related by law and by choice and so on. It's very expansive, which is what I think we can use, is that understanding of kinship. And my kids have they have their they have my sister's kids and Richard's sister's kids and brother's kids, and then they have, some of the people in the book we consider cousins that are, I have sort of a best friend-in-law who's in the book, Richard's best friend growing up, and their kids are cousins for us, and I think that's familiar to a lot of people. There's a lot of people who have grown up with aunts and uncles and cousins who they may register we're not biologically related, but they've always been aunts and uncles and cousins.
And there is no formula for a loving, caring family. I mean, you either want to love your family or not.
Yeah, and it's a level of commitment. It's a level of lifelong commitment. And that can happen through biology. It can also be, you can have that biological relationship and have no love and commitment. So, I think this book is about expanding our understanding of what family looks like and what makes family and how you get there.
I remember a Christmas special, and I'm not going to retell it as well probably if I had just seen it. It's been a long time. But I seem to remember there was a family who had adopted a child because his family had died. I think there was a story, and Santa Claus is sitting with the boy because he was upset that he didn't have the normal family anymore, that his family was gone, and Santa Claus tells him, no, this is your family, they love you, that's what family is about, it's about love. And it comes to mind for some reason because of what this discussion seems to be on. This discussion seems to be about loving the children and letting them grow up. I mean, how horrible is that story from yesterday, that little boy that washed up on the beach?
Oh my God.
I keep thinking it was Greece, but it was Turkey, right, where it grew up.
Yeah, Turkey.
But I mean, somebody didn't love that child. I mean, the parents did. The parents really loved those children. I hated that story. But some idiot over there that decides that these people aren't Muslim enough or something, because they weren't being kicked out in this case because they were Christians or Jews. They were being kicked out because they were Muslims. Which just doesn't make any sense. It's other Muslims. But do you have that circumstance where the kids ever say, gosh, we don't have the normal family? Does that ever come up with the children?
Yeah. I mean, this book is really about the lead up to the family, but yes, I think that does come up, and that's I think that's an important thing to acknowledge that there's some pain and there's some loss and there's some absence and so on in any kind of family, and in particular, say for adoptive families, there are other parents who were in the picture at some point and who could continue to be in the picture depending on the sort of adoption or the situation. And there's one story in the book where my friend told me that her son, or her adopted son, sometimes says, "I miss my first mother or my first mommy or something."
Oh,
and
gosh.
He never met her. His parents died when he was an infant, but my friend is taking care of that too. She understands what he means, and she includes that memory as part of his story. So I think if we're being honest and loving and supportive and acknowledging not just the reality of the family that you're in, but also any sorts of absences and pain that's there, we are doing our job as parents, and that that's what I'm trying to do.
And since your book is leading up to having the children and everything, how have you overcome the legal obstacles? Because children have to have people being able to sign if they go in the hospital or things like that, and that's been issues.
That's a great question, and it's funny because things have changed so much so fast in the last decade, and I think there's still a case in Florida, right, with two women trying to get the second parent on the birth certificate.
Right.
So that a similar thing happened to us with our second child, where she was born in Kentucky and we were in Kentucky. Well, we had a court order from California, from our local family court, designating us both as parents before the birth. So in some states that's possible. So we took that legal route to make sure that we were acknowledged as the parents that we intended to be and that we were and are, and that the surrogate who was carrying Maddie, the woman's name is Gail, that she also was protected and that she was being clear about what she wanted. So we had all that going in, but Kentucky has a different set of laws, and they had no idea what to do with us, really, and didn't want to acknowledge the California court order. So there was this sort of weird jurisdictional, haggling between the two states. It was strange because to us, we had this new baby, and we left the hospital with no documentation that we were parents because they didn't know how to do that, and they wanted to send us off with. They required a mother, and Gail was not the mother. She was the gestational carrier and didn't want any legal or financial obligation. So all of our intentions still hit up against a legal system that wasn't really ready for us. And with the first child, Reba, she was born in Massachusetts, and we were married there. It was the first state where it was legal, and my parents lived there, and we were married there. And we got we went to court ahead of time, and with the surrogate and her husband, and got a legal document designating us as parents. And the hospital just had to figure out how to fill out their forms at that point. I'm sure they've adjusted by now within the last 9 years.
Probably.
Joshua, are the photos on the cover of the book, are any of them your family?
Yes.
Can I guess? I'm guessing it's the ones with the purple hats.
Yes, that's me in the purple hat.
Okay.
And, I mean, obviously your listeners can't see this, but I guess they're going to have to buy the book.
They can go buy the book. Yes.
That's right.
And Richard's in the other hat, and Maddie's with the big glasses, and Reba has the hat. So that's us.
So that is that's a great segue to get the listeners to have information about buying the book. Do you have a website?
I do. It's my name, JoshuaGamson.com.
And Gamson is spelled?
Gamson.
Okay. I have a copy of the book here that Joshua sent to us, so if you would like the copy that was sent to us, please call me, and I'll be glad to put your name on it and leave it for you here. The number is 622-9622. And the book, when did it come out?
It comes out in a week, actually.
Oh, it's not out yet? Okay,
nope,
all right.
You're just ahead of it.
Oh, nice.
It used to be the Brady Bunch was the weird family. Now that doesn't seem so weird anymore.
Boy, things have changed.
So you mentioned that the other man is what's his name again? I can't remember his name.
Richard.
Who? My husband?
Yes.
Richard.
Yeah.
Richard.
He's Jewish.
I'm Jewish.
No.
Oh, you're
He's
Jewish.
He's biracial, mixed black and white.
Oh, okay. So what?
So he brings that experience to it also of, growing up a black child in a white town and so on.
Oh, wow. Okay. So do you celebrate do you practice your religion?
Yeah, more or less. I'm observant, the kid, but not religious, and we're mixed family in so many ways.
So you do the holidays?
We got it all. We got Christmas, Hanukkah, and
Joshua, good. Thank you for being on the air with us today. Thank you. Have a great holiday weekend too.
Thanks, you too.
We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio. I'm Lillian Wu. Stocks on Wall Street down as a key factor on whether interest rates will go up comes out.
Economists were calling for a strong report today from the Labor Department, but this one came in below expectations. 173,000 jobs added to payrolls. The unemployment rate did fall back to 5.1%.
Fox Radio's Rachel Sutherland. The Marine said the person killed during a helicopter training exercise at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina yesterday was Staff Sergeant Jonathan Lewis with an anti-terrorism fleet security team based in the Norfolk, Virginia area. And the UK reversing its stance on the refugee crisis in Europe.
British Prime Minister David Cameron saying Britain will accept thousands more people fleeing Syria's war.
Britain has a moral responsibility.
It feels like there may have been a shift in public feeling here in the UK after pictures of a Syrian toddler lying dead on a beach were spread on social media.
Fox Radio Simon Owen, Fox News. We report, you decide.
Sweet memories fill this place. Can't wait to get a taste. Come on home.
Labor Day is almost here. And what better way to celebrate than with accurate